In my opinion, tragic characters are the heart and soul of any TV series because we see the world through their eyes. We see the consequences of the actions they have to deal with, the things that they go through in their world, and all the crazy things that exist in their world and sometimes exist in our own world. So, through those tragic characters, we get a glimpse into the perspective of their world through these characters. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. In this video, I'm going to be sharing 10 of my favorite tragic TV characters. Because of the nature of the video, I might be talking about some details about the characters and it might wander into spoiler territory. So if you don't want anything spoiled for you, this is your spoiler warning. Number 10, Phoebe Buffay from Friends. Yes, I know. This one is surprising, yes. Because this character is a character that is always upbeat and quirky and has some eccentric qualities. So it is surprising for me to call this character a tragic character. But think about it. Of all the Friends, she's the one that had the most challenging and unconventional past. Like when you even hear some of the stories that she tells, you'll be like, what did this girl go through? What has this woman been through in her life? All those small hints she just gives us in the show, just hints that this woman has seen shaggy in her life. She has gone through some really tragic things, and she has helped with family losses and some other things like that. Like, I'm not saying other characters haven't dealt with things like that, but it is much more on her side. Like, and the fact that she just deals with all those things in a very quirky and upbeat manner is something that just makes her a more tragic character, because I feel like those things, the way she deals with it, are like a coping mechanism. Because if she wants to wallow in all those things she has gone through, she feel run mad. So the way she just deals with it just makes me appreciate her character more and realize that, man, this woman is a tragic character. Number 9, Prince Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Zuko was a classic example of a tragic character. This guy was someone that was always dealing with the consequences of his actions. He made some terrible choices and he's always constantly dealing with these problems. The consequences of his actions that he deals with always weigh on him so much. Like, you can see that this character is not a bad person, he's not a terrible person. He's someone that even if he does questionable things, deep in his heart is a good person and wants to be good. He tries to be good. Everything he does is just to please his overbearing father. Imagine his father that even gave him a scar. That perspective just adds to the overall tragedy of his character, and the fact that he's always doing everything he can on the quest to redeem himself in his father's eyes, or to do what his father loves, is just something that just makes his character much more tragic, because whatever he does, he just dooms himself more. And it's so sad to see. The banished prince that was dealing with internal conflicts was a very interesting story arc for Zuko, and it was one thing that made Zuko a very interesting and tragic character. Number 8, Adam Groff from Sex Education. Of all the characters on this list and of the characters in the show Sex Education, Adam Groff is my favorite. He's my favorite on this list and he's my favorite in the show. And the fact that this guy is a tragic character is something that just makes me care so much for him. Adam Groff just deals with so much. He's someone that tries to be good. He wants to be a good person. He wants to do the right things. But his actions just leading him into places that are just so terrible, and that the consequences are just too much for him. Like, deep in his heart, like not even deep, on the top of his heart, he tries to be a good person. He's someone that tries all his best to do the good things. Even though he's a bully, he started out as a bully, but you could see that why he was doing this thing was because he was dealing with some really serious things in his house. Like, his relationship with his father was another thing that added to the tragedy of his character. He's someone that just wants to do the best thing and to just make his parents or his father happy, but his father just constantly condemns everything he does, and it's just like, you just reason now. If they try make your papa happy and your papa just they always condemn you every time, how you go feel about so it was something that just made Groff a very closed off character, because every time he opens his heart just gets shut down, and it's always so sad to see. And that just causes him to have challenges in his relationships and encounter so many different problems, and just makes him so vulnerable. And man, I love Adam Groff so much, but the things he goes through in this show was just so heartbreaking. I was so sad to see Adam going through all these things, but I was so glad he got a redemptive arc. Thank God for that. Number 7, Kendall Roy from Succession. Kendall Roy is a very intelligent and ambitious character. He's a very smart person, but his family is a very dysfunctional family, a very complex, dysfunctional family. And the things he has to deal with his family, like, imagine having a father that is always pitting you and your siblings against each other. Like, that's something that automatically just damages a child. And the fact that Kendall was promised some things at a young age, like, he was promised something that a child should not even have to deal with at that kind of age, and his father just kept fucking with him, pitting his siblings against him, and just damaging this guy mentally was something that just made this guy so tragic. And the fact that he had to deal with personal and professional issues, like he's running a multi-million dollar company, he has to deal with the stress of all that, and he still has to deal with the stress of his dysfunctional family. All those things just take so much toll on Kendall. And like the Kendall will start from in season one, and the Kendall will end with in season four. They're like just two different characters because this man has seen Shaggy, and the way Kendall ended in the final season was another thing I just added to the overall tragedy of this character. Number six, Odor from Game of Thrones. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry. I'm not crying. I'm not crying. You're the one that's crying. Leave me alone. Oh God! Oh man! Of all the characters on this list, Odor is the most tragic. I mean, it's not number one, but man, Odor just goes through some things that just make me sympathize so much with this character. This guy deals with something in his childhood that affects the rest of his life. When we as viewers now realize what he went through and the reason for his odor, when we realize the reason for it, it just hits us so hard. I'm sure everybody that watched Game of Thrones and found out what happened to Odor, it hit the deepest part of their heart. It was so intense what happened to him. He has been preparing his life for something that he was not even aware of. And when the moment came, my guy didn't even think about it two times. He did what he was supposed to do. And the circumstance just surrounding the whole of his life was just so heartbreaking and so tragic. Number five, Bojack Horseman from Bojack Horseman. Bojack Horseman is a horse-like man. I mean, it's in his name, Bojack Horseman. They took that thing literally. He's an horse-like man. In his world, he's a celebrity, but he's also a self-loathing alcoholic. He deals with his self-destructive behavior. He deals with addiction issues. He deals with family tragedy. Man, he just deals with so much. And it's like this guy doesn't even care about himself. Like, he feels so empty. Like, oh man, it's even breaking my heart just talking about it. Bojack feels so empty. Despite his external success, the success he has gained in the world, he had so much, but he still felt so empty. Man, so it's just so sad to watch and see his character go through some things that he went through. And the fact that this guy can never ever find lasting happiness, like he tries to seek happiness, he tries to be happy. Like I'm sure no one likes living like that, but he tries to be happy. But all his attempts, everything he does just backfires in his face and just never ever lasts. And he also deals with the impact of the mistakes that he has made in his past. And all those things just combine together and just make his life such a difficult life. Like this guy is a guy that some people consider as having everything. But I'm sure nobody wants to live like that. That's how tragic Bojack was. Number four, Kevin Garvey from The Leftovers. Let me give some background for people that have not seen The Leftovers. The Leftovers is a show that 2% of the world disappear without any explanation and no one knows where the rest of them went. Some people lost single members of their family, some people lost all members of their family. But Kevin Garvey never loses a single member of his family. He has a wife and two children. He never loses any of them. But man, the shit that this man still goes through, like he didn't lose any of them, but slowly, all his family members just started living one by one because of the impact of the thing that happened to the world, this disappearance or the I can't remember what they called it in the show, but the disappearance that happened in the world was just something that just affected his family so much. And so something that Kevin Garvey was dealing with constantly. The emotional struggles he deals with in this film were so profound. And the fact that he was always finding answers to questions that nobody even knows the answers to. Like, he just added to the overall tragedy of his character. Number three, Theon Greyjoy from Game of Thrones. When Game of Thrones started, Theon was like a character that we did not really care about. He was a very annoying character. He started out as an annoying character that people just fuck this guy. And that was the kind of opinion people had about him. From becoming an annoying character, he betrayed people that cared about him, betrayed people that took him in, and just made people, me personally, I was like already against him at that point that fuck this guy, fuck him hard. And our wishes were granted. He was fucked. He was fucked hard. I shouldn't be laughing because what he endured in this show was man, I would never ever wish it on Satan. But man, what this guy went through, yes, he did some things that were bad. But man, what he endured was just so much more than the crime that he committed. So it's like when the crime is this and the punishment is this. That was how it was for Theon. And man, it was so sad to see what Theon went through. Theon was betrayed and was tortured. Like, man, thinking about it now is breaking my heart. Although I did not like this guy, but man, there's nothing like torture and suffering to make you care about the character. And after all the shit that Theon went through, man, I cared so much about him. The way Theon's story ended was one of the best things about season 8 of Game of Thrones. I liked the ending that they gave him. It was so befitting. And I was just like, please just let him go to rest. Just let him go. And when he went, I was so happy that he finally found peace. Number two, Howard Hamlin from Better Call Saul. When I think about Howard, there is a song that always plays in my head. I heard a song some time ago, and whenever I think about Howard, that is the song that just keeps playing in my head. The lyric goes like this: I'm just a soul whose intentions are good. Lord, please don't let me be misunderstood. And that is the story of Howard. Howard is a character that his intentions are so pure, but man, he is so misunderstood. Like, man, Howard is just, he's one of those characters that just break my heart so much, because all he ever wanted to do was the best he could do. He had genuine intentions, but the people that he was surrounded with were just fucking with him, like Charles McGill. Charles McGill just made Howard do the things that he could not do by himself. He made Howard do some really terrible things, and Howard was the one that was constantly paying for the consequences of the actions that was brought upon him by Charles McGill. And when Saul Goodman was dealing with Howard, man, I hated Saul Goodman so much, and I felt so sorry for Howard Hamlin. And the way the story ended was just like the most tragic of all. It's like when you just finish or destroy a person's life. That was how they destroyed Howard's life. Ah, man, it hurts me so much. That's one of the things I would never ever forgive Saul Goodman for, the way he treated Howard Hamlin. I would never ever forgive him for it. Number one, Jesse Pinkman from Breaking Bad. In the show Breaking Bad, there are a number of tragic characters that went through so much because of Walter White. And no other character went through as much shit as Jesse Pinkman went through. Jesse Pinkman went through physical torture, he went through emotional torture, all because of asshole Mr. White. Man, I hate Mr. White so much for what he did to Jesse. He tormented Jesse's life. He made Jesse's life so hard. He made Jesse do some things that Jesse did not want to do. And Jesse could not say, okay, I'm not going to do what this man wants to do, because this man was constantly blackmailing him. Like, taking advantage of this poor boy, blackmailing him to do what you want him to do. Man, it just ruined Jesse's life. And every time Jesse tried to redeem himself or tried to get out of the business Mr. White has gotten him into, Mr. White still just finds a way to just rope him back into it and just keeps making his life miserable. Man, I felt so sorry for Jesse. Like, if you see where Jesse began in season 1 and you see where he ended in season 5, like, you can exactly see the shit that Mr. White puts him through. Man, Mr. White was a fucking asshole to Jesse Pinkman. Just like how Saul Goodman was an asshole to Howard Hamlin. People that didn't deserve to be treated the way they were treated. It's just something that just makes me hate those characters so much. And I so felt sorry for what happened to Jesse. But I'm so glad he finally found peace at the end of the show. So those are 10 tragic TV characters. What other TV characters do you think were tragic enough to have been on this list? Comment below and let me know. If you watched this video up until now, please like, share, and follow me for more contents like this. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Cheers.